All right, guys, Ryan Dement from TrueVest. This is the True Podcast, and today we're lucky to have three wonderful individuals that really keep the Evansville housing market and also the Promise Zone going. I'll let them introduce themselves. Silas, why don't you start out?
Yes, my name is Silas Matcham. I'm the executive director of the Evansville Promise Zone, an initiative by Echo Housing, and we work with our federal partners, HUD, and also our lead organization partner, which is the City of Evansville.
Good to meet you. Good to see you. It's wonderful to see you with that hat on. Why don't you take that hat off for the audience and show them your hair?
No, I did it for one meeting this morning because I couldn't find my hat, so yeah, I just had to take it. But now that I found one, I'm gonna rock the hat for the
All
remainder
right.
of this meeting.
All right, Josh, you're up.
My name is Josh Calhoun. I'm the executive director of Hope of Evansville. We work in providing housing assistance, foreclosure prevention. We do some first-time home buyer things as well as some financial literacy. And one of our major partners is the City of Evansville Metropolitan Development. We work with IHCDA and a few others, but we'll get into that. And I know everyone can't be their own barber. And so, Silas, keep your hat on.
Yeah.
And our third member is Alex Burton. He is on a call right now, but we'll let him do his thing and then we'll keep going. So we wanted to get this group together to talk about some items going on in Evansville in regards to COVID-19, housing, assistance for individuals that are, looking for ability to find, food or shuttles. Anybody that's looking for foreclosure help or eviction help, Josh can help you with that. So, and then Alex wanted to come on and talk about some of his initiatives through the city council. So, Silas, why don't you start us off and talk a little bit about the Promise Zone and what's going on there?
Well, thank you. Um, the Promise Zone itself, we're trying to keep our eye on everything that's taking place on the ground, and we're talking with our federal partners, which would be HUD on a daily basis. Excuse me, and we are trying our best to figure out and get a take on what's happening from a ground level, the needs, the processes that are taking place, the projects that are ongoing, the creation of new projects that are needed, and we're funneling that information. We send a report out weekly to HUD for them to kind of get a better picture of what's taking place in our areas during COVID. So the Promise Zone itself has a number of initiatives that are actively moving forward during this current time. One of those being our Promise Zone Express, that we take people to the grocery store. And obviously, those numbers have picked up since COVID-19. And we still work hard to practice our social distancing and things of that nature. But we are still taking people to the grocery store and making sure that they get those essentials that they need. And then we leverage a lot on our Promise Zone app. Again, if you have not downloaded that, please do so. It's on Apple and Android, Evansville Promise Zone app. And we have a number of resources there. We have a COVID-19 section that's loaded with information that would help you navigate through through this pandemic. And we continue to look for other opportunities to continue to update that information daily as the information comes to us. Our Promise Zone also exists with a number of active work groups where you have housing, education, job development, health, crime, and economic development. So these groups continue to meet, and we discuss the particular issues that are taking place right now, and then for the future, because we also understand that this pandemic has to have an ending point sooner or later. And when it does, what do we do after that? What? How do we keep things moving? How do we get back into the day-to-day operations? And then, most like anybody, we're trying to define what the new normal is, not knowing exactly what new normal is defined to be just yet. But since the terminology is being floated around, we're trying to be ahead of the curve so that when it does start to address what that new normal is, we're right there in the picture to start seeing how we can help and continue to do some of the great work that we've been doing.
So the Promise Zone app, I'll put a link to it in the show notes so everyone can get that. From that standpoint on resources, is there anything that people can see? Is it all on the app? Or if they need help, where do they go? If they need to find food, if they need to find a shuttle, if they need any type of health, or health help? Maybe they need to be tested for COVID-19. Where do they go? Is it all in the app?
Yes, you can find the information on the app. Again, there's a section COVID-19. It's really direct, straightforward. You click on there, you'll see COVID-19. You press on there, and it'll show all those different areas of focus that we've laid out, which is grab and go foods, internets. We have an interactive map on there that shows where all the free Wi-Fi is in the city of Evansville. Um, we also have unemployment information. You can go to the PZ app, click for unemployment. It'll direct you straight to the unemployment links where you can file for unemployment, and just a number of other information in general, just resources. Last week alone, our COVID-19 section of our app, because we get analytics on a daily basis, but we looked at it for 5 days, and within those 5 days, our COVID app portion had over 500 hits. So we know it's being utilized pretty fluidly.
So if they need to get a hold of you, best way to get a hold of you is by email.
Yeah, I was email us at you can email me directly at silas.matcham@echohousing.org.
I'll
So
put it in the notes too, so they have it. But one of these days, we're gonna have to do a screen share with your app so people can walk through it, because I think that'll be a good thing to do.
yeah, I think it'd be a great thing to do, to look actually take a look and see what it's offering. But it is a good resource to have, and to be able to use that accordingly as we go through this pandemic, and as even after it's going to be a really useful resource to have, because it has more than just COVID-19 information on it. It has housing, education, bank information. It has a number of things on it that's useful just for day-to-day living.
All right. So hour there, the guy, Mr. Calhoun.
You cut out a little bit on me. I didn't catch anything,
Sorry.
nothing else but the name. I'm sorry about that.
Sorry, it's your turn. We got you up
So
now.
tell a little bit about yourself, Josh. Tell what's going on in your area and what Hope of Evansville does.
Well, again, like I said, we offer some foreclosure prevention. We have a program. We've partnered with IHCDA to provide services for individuals that may have issues related to COVID-19, or if you have issues prior to, we have two separate funding sources that can assist homeowners with the various different issues that cause them to fall behind on their mortgages. And so we also have a first-time home buyers program. We offer down payment assistance or closing cost, along with some budgeting and financial literacy. And so that's another program that we're still operating. And so some individuals are still purchasing homes, even though there's a pandemic, because they were in position to do so. We started a new program called Fair Shot. It's an additional financial literacy program to help individuals get in position to purchase homes.
Hey, Josh, I think one of the things I'm going to talk to you about earlier, Fair Shot was one of those first programs that we created in the Promise Zone in our job development group. So Fair Shot was one of our first initiatives, and you guys stepped in and took that program and made it even better. And now you guys are facilitating that. So we're very thankful and grateful that you guys have snatched that program up and ran with it and made it your own. So it was one of those first initiatives where we really, as a work group, as a job development work group, really took opportunity to say, look, man, people need better need to know, have a better understanding of their finances, and because really, the financial piece is so key in everything that we do. And there's really, honestly, if we're just being honest, no way to get around it. If you really want low interest rates, a home, things of this nature, and if you want it done the right way where you're not paying millions of dollars for something that wouldn't cost somebody else millions of dollars with good credit, you've got to have a better understanding of your finances. So that Fair Shot program is just, and the things that you guys have been able to do with it and moving it forward has been so beneficial to the Promise Zone and the residents in the Promise Zone.
Yeah, thanks. I wish I could take full credit for that, but I have a great team at Hope. So Nikki Waller, she's worked really hard to get that program going, and we're about to start doing some Zoom meetings, offering Fair Shot through Zoom. And so I'm excited about that. And we've partnered with a couple of local banks to assist with some of the financial literacy courses that we'll be offering. Like I said, the foreclosure prevention, Kathy Duncan, she works with that. She's great at what she does. I have Anthony Ajabadi, who works with our down payment assistance program. He's excellent, and we're looking to continue to grow that even further after the pandemic. And Tori Dillinger, she helps to keep us all organized and making sure that everything flows smoothly between the programs. And so we've got a really good team, and I think that after the pandemic, we're going to attempt to offer some additional services as it relates to mortgage assistance, rent assistance, and assisting with utilities. And so we've put in some proposals to do some of that work after, in anticipation of moratoriums being lifted and individuals getting things back on track.
So when it comes to default prevention and also eviction, can you talk a little bit more about that? Because that's kind of where we're at today. Is we know that's going to be a problem down the road, and how best can individuals contact you and figure out how they can get help if they need it?
So as it relates to rental evictions, we're working on getting some funding in place to be able to assist individuals with that. But foreclosure prevention, it's up and running right now, and we can be reached at our website. You go to hopeofevansville.org is our website, or we can be found on Facebook at Hope of Evansville, or you could give us a call and leave a message at 812-423-3169, or an email to office@hopeofevansville.org, and we'll get back with you.
Cool. I'll make sure all the contact information is in the notes so everyone gets that, so we don't miss it. Good. One other thing. So the Fair Shot, that's a pretty cool program because we've put a bunch of our home buyers through it. I think it's awesome. And you guys are now going to be able to do it through Zoom. How many hours? Tell little people about the background and how many hours they're going to have to attend, what it's kind of encompassing, and I'm guessing they can just call you guys if they want to sign up for it, if that's the easiest way.
Right. And so, like I said, it's new how we're offering it through Zoom. And so it's typically 5:30 to 7-ish. And so that's the time you can expect to be on a Zoom. We may be able to streamline it a little bit more with some of the online capabilities and being able to send you things prior to. But it's typically 5:30 to 7. And you'll meet once throughout the week. Right now we have it scheduled for Tuesdays or Thursdays, but it could change. We're still kind of working some kinks out with doing it online as there's a demand. And so those are the hours. And typically, if it's offered in person, we try to offer dinner because we know families are busy and they may not have time to cook dinner and come to a financial literacy class.
Free food, man. You can't go wrong with that. And I've heard some the local restaurants that were delivering to it in the past. They were pretty good. Sign me up. I'm there for the food.
I'll hold you to that.
I've gone through it already, so I don't mind going through it again. I mean,
Yeah.
I wanted to see what it was like when I first came to town and we were doing what we were doing. So yeah, it's cool. what would you want the audience to know about Hope, or things that you guys are doing, or anything you want to focus in on the services that you guys provide, and let them know?
Well, we really want the community to understand that we are an organization that really wants to connect with our clients, and we look forward to meeting the various needs of the community, whether they're caused by COVID-19 or they were existing issues. But we're here to serve the community, and I just want the community to know that we really want to live out what our name is. We want to generate hope in our community, and so providing services related to housing or financial literacy, or even small business loans, which is another arm that we're developing. Uh, we're doing that just to generate some hope in our community and to serve.
Great. Silas, what do you have on your end? I know Josh covered a lot of what we wanted to talk about. Is there something that since Alex dropped off, is there anything you want to touch based on
well, I really want to take a chance just to talk about the resources that are available across the board that many agencies are using. We know that there's the grab and go lunches. Alex, who was on this phone call, but as you know, he's the city council president. He's always at need, so in need across every sector. So have to be respectful of that. But he started a great program called For Evansville, and they're handing out free lunches. They're doing probably about 200 or 250 per day. So any resources that anybody can send or contribute to that effort, please do so, because it's very useful. There's other small entities. There's a lot of churches. I can't name them all, but a lot of churches are stepping up to the plate, and they're feeding their areas locally, doing their things of nature. So I really encourage people to really find out who is doing what, especially in terms of getting people food. I have to really not take for granted the fact that I have the ability to get up, go to a grocery store, and get the food I need for my family. But there are families out there who cannot do that, and they are looking for an opportunity to have some food, and just during this time, because it is a little bit difficult if you think about what's really taking place. We've had people who've lost their jobs, and some people have lost significant jobs, if we're really just being honest. And although they're getting unemployment and things of that nature, some people are still not making ends meet with the unemployment checks that they get, because it's not the money that they were making. And with that being the case, their bills still are the same. And that's the funny thing about bills. No matter if my income, I can't call my bill collector and say, well, guess what? I lost $30,000 this year in income. Will you meet me halfway and get my bills to fit? No, the bill's the bill, right? So, there's still things you have to pay out, and there's still things you have to do. Not to say that there are not numerous entities working with one another to make sure, like your electric bill, center point, and things of that nature, they're all working with people to make sure that they're not cut off during this time. But understanding that eventually bills are going to be due. So what are we doing to make sure that we're in a good place when everything starts to come back? And here, I want to push that out there, though, because although we're uncertain of exactly when, the conversations are already taking place. We're hearing that, we've got a committee in Evansville that's working to figure out how to reopen Evansville. So understand that we are going to reopen. Things are going to get back to what is referenced to as the new normal. But when all those things kick in place, are you going to be in a better place, or are you going to be in a worse place than you was when you started? So making sure that we're just making those connections where we need to, and addressing everything possible while we have this time out. I was having an interesting conversation with a friend yesterday.
You're on your soapbox.
Yeah, I'm really good at this.
So wait, before you have this conversation, I got to do the interruption, because my attention span is 0, and we've got a guy on the other side here, Josh, that has some resources that I think we need to point people to for action. So if they're having financial troubles, whether it be eviction or it's foreclosure, or they need some type of financial guidance, Josh, you're the man, right? We can say, come to Hope.
Come
and
to
we'll
hope.
see.
Come get some hope.
That's right. Come to hope for
Yeah.
hope.
Come
Okay.
get some hope.
So that I want to take some action out of this. You know, Mr. Silas, you always say life always wins, but in this case, I don't want life to win. I want the
So
individual, the family to
I want to be
triumph.
clear when I state that when I say life wins, I'm really just showing that when there are things that that we know that we need to be taken care of, and then other things come arise that we can't control, we do we do what we know we can do at that particular moment to keep things moving. And sometimes those are not the best decisions, but it's the right decision for the moment. And even though it might hurt later down the line, we still make those decisions because most of our needs are immediate. And that's when I say life wins, because life is always immediate. It's right now. And we deal with that as it comes.
So if it's coming right now and they need help, we're sending them to Hope of Evansville.
If you need financial literacy, if your home is getting ready to be foreclosed upon, um, memory serves me correct, I think it's up to like $30,000.
Yes. So if you have a hardship that's like the loss of a job, if you lost a spouse, or a medical illness has caused you to fall behind on your mortgage, or even let's say with the whole pandemic, you received a demotion. You didn't lose your job, but you were demoted and you lost a significant amount of your income. We have a program that can assist you with with your foreclosure issues to stop your home from being foreclosed on. And so, if you have any of those hardships, we can assist, and it's up to 6 months of assistance or $30,000 in assistance, whichever comes first.
Wow, that's awesome. You know, the other thing is we haven't talked about is Fannie and Freddie. 90, it's like 89 or 90% of mortgages that are originated in the United States are all backed by Fannie or Freddie, which
Mhm.
have a forbearance process that's clearly outlined to where you can get up to 6 months of forbearance without it being capitalized. It's moved to the back of the loan. And then once that time is up, then you resume your normal payments. They're just extending terms. I don't know if everybody knows that. And I don't know if there's lenders that are all abiding by that, because I'll give you an example. As my best friend, he has a loan through Rocket Mortgage, which it was sold to Freddie. And when he called them, they're like, no, you actually can get a forbearance, but we're going to capitalize it and it's going to increase your payment. They're not putting on the back of it. So then he had to call back and go through a whole process. And they finally came back and said, oh, you're right, we changed it. So I think there's a lot of confusion out there around that, because there is some assistance there. I know Fannie and Freddie are stopping foreclosure process. I know they're also stopping the eviction process for 120 days during this. So there
Mhm.
is some options there. And if you're in that process, I would say come see you, Josh, at Hope, because you guys have the tools to be able to help them.
Right. And
But
I would say don't wait until the moratorium's over. And
yes,
if you're
say that,
working to get back
say
on
that
your
loud.
yeah, don't wait till the moratorium's over to come see us, because then things could move really rapidly, and there is a little bit of a time frame in which we can work and how fast we can work. And so come to us sooner than later so that we can get you in the process, so that we can start the paperwork, so that when it is over, that we have you in a better place than if you waited until the moratorium was lifted, then started.
What about from the credit side, Josh? So I know you guys do that for first time home buyers, but what about if somebody is behind on their bills, they can't keep up, and they need help, they need relief from a payment perspective or an interest rate perspective? Do you guys have any type of credit counseling or credit assistance?
Well, we have counseling, and so we show individuals through a program, like I said, it's offered through DPA or through Fair Shot, um, to show individuals how to make a budget, how to pull a credit report, and how to positively get that score to go up, and that sort of thing, by doing the various things that you learn in the courses. So we offer that. We currently don't have funding for like paying for credit card interest, that sort of thing, because we use
Okay.
federal funds and there's rules and guidelines. But we're working to get some funding that would assist with things, like I said, like utilities and maybe some rents and mortgages that are related to the COVID-19 issues.
Okay. Silas, on the food side, I know Alex is in charge of this. Do you have information on where people can find the grab and goes locations to where we can share it?
And this seems like a useless plug here, but the Promise Zone app has the information. uh, it has the information on there for you to see where all the grab and goes are.
Can you access the Promise Zone app on a web browser at all? Is there any way is the Promise Zone got anything web based that you can show right now?
No, I
Mr.
don't.
Burton.
Mr. Burton's back in.
Man,
Well, let's officially introduce yourself. So why don't you let everybody know who you are, Alex?
I am Alex Burton, the 4th Ward City Councilman here in Evansville, Indiana.
Well,
All
it's
right.
good to have you. And we were just talking about your grab and go program. Why don't you tell us about it and how people can get the information?
Yeah, sure. So we started the Grab and Go program just because with the epidemic, we knew that there were people that were without groceries and without and that have lost income, and we want to do something for our families in the community. And so we started this Grab and Grow program, which has shifted into the Feed Evansville Task Force, where we're really bridging a gap that we have in our community. You know, it was we weren't trying to take the place of the rescue mission and aren't trying to take the place of United Carrying Services or anything along those lines. It's simply to be create a system of food to reduce food waste in our community. If someone has 10 loaves of bread that they can't use, we want to distribute that to neighbors in our community to make sure that we're not throwing anything away and that we're putting everything to use.
Awesome. And where can they find this at? Because I'll link it in the show notes.
Needaneighbor.org. That's where neighbors can put or residents can put their ask onto like a portal. And just for all the updates with regard to Feed Evansville, we have a Facebook page and we're updating that as often as we can.
Okay. What else? Everyone else got to speak their piece and give a little background of what they're doing and how they can help Evansville. What do you want to talk about?
Yeah, sure. So just with Evansville, just doing their part, you know, whether it's being there for a neighbor or, you know, and first and foremost, taking care of yourself. We know that COVID-19 is real and is in our community. And I looked up some stats earlier, and there were 95 confirmed cases in Evansville. 72 of those have been cleared, and there's been one death. With 193 people exposed. So the best thing we can do is protect ourselves and, you know, live our lives to the best of our abilities. And then the second thing would be to fill out the census form. We are and I say that half jokingly, but you know, we are less than 51% of Evansville residents have filled out the census, and for our future to be our very best, we need everyone to take part in the census and fill it out. And because at the end of the day, that data that's collected will be used for the next 10 years, and we'll have some control of how money is directed into our community.
And they can do that through the mailer that they got from the United States Postal Service. They can do it that way and go online and actually access it that way.
Yes, mycensus2020.gov.
Yep. Awesome.
And to add to that, I would like to say too, the census information is really important, as Alex was saying about funding that comes to our community. So if we're talking about grant funds specifically, they're based on census data. And so if we have needs in our low to moderate income communities, the census information is going to be crucial to make sure that everyone participates in, because it'll help us over the next 10 years to meet the needs in the community with grant funding.
Awesome. That's good. Alex, what else do you have on your plate that you wanted to discuss? We talked a little housing. We talked a little bit of Fair Shot with Josh. We talked about eviction and foreclosure help through Hope of Evansville. Silas plugged the Promise Zone app shamelessly many times and talked about the different items that are on the Promise Zone app. And we're probably going to do a screen share on that on a next podcast, so we can share that, show people that. Floor is yours. You know, we were waiting for you.
Oh gosh. Yeah, definitely. And I will say shout out to the Promise Zone app, because it does even have all the places where people can get their residents can access food. So that's crucial. So there's literally, it's a one-stop shop. For us, we've had countless conversations, and a goal of mine is in the next 5 to 10 years, I would love to see every resident in the fourth ward specifically have a credit score of upwards of 750. Though I know it's a lofty goal, it is something that we can at least work towards. And I set the goal of 750 because there's no sense in just saying, oh, I want you to have a credit score of 700. No, let's get it as high as possible. For the higher the credit score, we know that more things become tangible as it relates to homes, cars, whatever the case may be. And in regard to the credit score specifically, home ownership in the fourth ward needs to be raised. You're looking at more than 60% of the residents in the fourth ward rent. That's high, and there's so much opportunity here in our community with regard to the land bank and just open spaces, and even the opportunity for Ryan with you and TrueVest to come in and really just do a lot of great work in our community.
Yep.
And do some revitalization that I think will really take our community to the next level. And as I say time and time again, the stronger the fourth ward is, the stronger the entire city of Evansville is. And if we can really solve this housing situation, then it'll make it easier for us to state our case as to why we need access to groceries and all the other amenities and things that we don't have in the fourth ward. We now can really use that as leverage to get in our community. And in fact, homeownership has so many benefits that I really would like to see that home ownership number really do all that, really allow the home ownership numbers to really climb as high as possible. And even with Josh, I'm so grateful, and congratulations on becoming the new executive director at Hope. And doing as much as we can to really get those numbers up and direct as many people as we can through your doors as well.
Absolutely. Send them our way.
So we're all on the same page on that. In the housing piece is near to my heart. But one of the things that I really think, and I'm in your backyard. That's all I know is your ward. So that's where we do our business. That's where Bayard Park is going to be developed. But I think one of the things also that I see that we can do is, you said grocery stores. I think there needs to be, there's just that lack of ability to get good groceries, vegetables and fruit and things that are good for you. We need to be able to find a way that if there is open land or there's an older building we can convert somewhere down the road, that we can convert it into a small grocery store and make it a community store somehow. I know it's a talk. I know Silas has talked about it. I know I've had conversations with Kelly about it and how they're doing it in different cities in Indiana. But that is one of the cool things that I'd like to do, is find some local farmers that we could feed it with and be able to bring that food into the cities, to where there truly is not a market for these individuals to come buy from. So that is on the list. That is one of my things that I've always wanted to do. I just got to get time and do it and put it in there. So it's on the radar.
Absolutely. And when as I said it, and as you gave your response, I just thought of something. Much like how we talk about, sustainable housing, I think I want to get away from the term grocery store, because it has this connotation, and
Yes.
Who knows what the grocery system looks like, what that next thing looks like. But
Right.
I think there's a creative way that we can really make it happen without it having necessarily to be Aldi or another grocery chain as we looked at, solve this problem.
Yep.
That is clear, because grocery store is it's a hard feat for the Promise Zone area, which includes the Fourth Ward and all the our urban census tracts. So I want to be clear. It hasn't been because we have not been looking to put one there. We've spent money on market studies. We went out and made numerous pitches. I don't know how many pitches the city and myself have made to potential. We have a new development coming up on North Main where we actually have about enough square footage for a grocery store or some type of market, and we haven't been successful in finding somebody or a grocery store, and mainly because the margins are so small in grocery stores and things of making a profit, that every data piece has to make sense. If I'm just, that's how it's been explained to us. It's not that they don't understand that people need, but groceries, and they want to come in the right places. But if they don't have the right traffic counts, if they don't have the incomes to support the grocery store will fail by itself. So we're trying to find a more permanent solution than finding something that's quick and that might not be able to sustain itself.
Well, can I drop a bomb on you a little bit and just tell you this? If
I
you
don't
cut
like
out the
bombs.
middleman,
Can you do something lighter than a bomb?
no, because you didn't take your hat off, so I can't see your hair. So you getting a bomb. Alex, if you saw his hair this morning on the house meeting, I was like, man, he's a good looking man with that hair. He needs to keep that hair on his head, but he doesn't like it. So anyhow, if we cut the middleman out, and I say the middleman, a grocery store, and you work to a local individual, maybe a farmer, and be able to work with his or her reserves, because they're going to always have additional product that they can't get rid of. So if we can buy it at a cost that makes sense, getting a standalone building initially, or even just a pop-up, it works.
Farmers market.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
it's inexpensive. You bring it in, the farmer's still making money. The food can still be sold to the residents for an affordable cost. And you're giving people vegetables, fruits, what do you want to say? Anything other than the bad food that, we're all eating right now because we're locked down. And it gets them in a routine to, maybe if we get enough traffic there, it's not just a pop-up. Maybe we find an abandoned building and we somehow get some type of break from the city or somebody, the private seller, whatever. And, we develop.
Here's a mistake I make often, and especially in the Promise Zone, is
mistake?
especially when
No.
very rarely,
No.
but
Okay.
when it does occur, it's in situations especially wrapped around food access and fresh foods. Now, I'm an advocate for fresh foods, but I also have to understand reality, right? So reality is people want to buy the food that they want to buy. So when we talk about fresh food, pop up, and things of that nature, we definitely want people to have a healthier diet. We definitely want people to come in and purchase those fruits and vegetables that will better their lives and things of that nature. But we also have to have a space where people can go buy food that they deem that they want to eat, like they would walk in a grocery store. So it has to be some type of joining of the two in this new process, where we're just not saying, let's come get a couple of apples, come get a couple of oranges, or so forth. We need individuals to come in and be able to get a candy bar. I'm saying it on here, or a hamburger, or something of that nature that they want to enjoy. So it has to be. We've got to figure out some in between. And that's what I've been trying to figure out with, even because the Promise Zone has a focus on foods group, that we really work on healthy foods. And we've talked about this conversation numerous times, but we've got to find the in between of what is good and what is bad, and how can they work together.
So then let's take this off and we can do a little bit more, because I agree there's got to be an intersection. But when you take the middle person out and you go directly to the source, your costs are dramatically decreased by 30 to 40%. So I bet you we can find local farmers that raise fruit, vegetable, and also meat. Now, all the bad stuff, the sugar stuff, I don't know how we could. I don't know about that stuff. I mean, you'd have to buy that from a third party, but I can tell you meat, vegetables, fruit, whatever, those type of things, we can go directly to farmers. And there's farmers like literally right now wanting people to buy their product. You know, did you guys see in New York on a daily basis, they're dumping out over 600,000 gallons of milk because the state law does not allow them to be able to bottle it by the time it's bottled to the time it gets to a nonprofit to hand it out. There's too much time expired, so they have to throw it out. So all that could be going to a grab and go like Alex is supporting, or a food pantry or something. It's not, it's wasted. It's going right down the sewer. So, I mean, there's options out there. We just have to find it and work through it.
Right.
So we're going to add that to your list of things to do to help us get that started, Mr. True Vest, in the community.
Right now, my main focus is to make Josh angry at me, because I'm going to send him 5,000 people that want to buy houses, and then I'm going to be all over Alex because Alex says he wants to send me 5,000 people to buy houses, and then that's going to roll down to you, Mr. Silas, because I'm going to get everyone together in one place. So I'm not having 50 conversations.
Well, I mean, all jokes aside, what is taking place with True Vest is really what we want to see across all of the Promise Zone, all of our urban census tracts, is where we're actually going in and we're looking at a land or plots of a neighborhood, and we're focusing in on that, and we're revitalizing it, and we're just not jumping from place to place, but we're going in. We've got an area, and we're building homes. We're not only building homes, we're doing landscaping, we're doing some sidewalks. We're really revitalizing the neighborhood for all my housing partners. And I wanted to talk about this today, but I never got around to it. Is I really want people to start focusing on neighborhoods and not just houses. When you build a house, I want you to think neighborhood. So you should be looking at, the sidewalks, the lighting, things of that nature. Because I really hate for a beautiful home to be put in the middle of two bad homes. That's just a pet peeve of mine. I really like to see where we put some nice homes and we work with the whole neighborhood so that the whole neighborhood can be beautiful, because that's the intent. That's how you make better neighborhoods. You just don't do it by sliding one home in and saying move somebody in. That's just my personal thing. You guys can argue with me later. So let me get on my soapbox.
I'll say this, Silas. This is one that I've held. This was like my ace in my back pocket. So we're also working to develop. It's going to be a 30-unit apartments. We're going to do some scattered site homes. So there's going to be 20 scattered site homes, and then we're going to do about 10 that will be like the townhomes. And so we're working on that. It's a large tax credit project in partnership with the NRP group that we'll be rolling out soon. So we'll be making some neighborhood impact soon.
Love it. Sidebar, useless plug again. The Promise Zone gave preference points to this tax credit project that he's referencing.
Oh God! This Promise Zone app and this Promise Zone keeps on getting these shameless plugs. So why don't we get this thing to the end, to the barn, and we'll make it another topic for another day. But Alex, you give us our last words of wisdom on what you want to get out to the folks of Evansville, and we'll make sure we do these twice a month, maybe even more frequently. I don't know, but we'll get this out to everyone.
Yeah, sure. Well, we're all in this together, taking it day by day. And with this increased amount of downtime, there's no idea too big, too crazy, too lofty. Please feel free to share it with any of us. And we're all working to, really just make sure that our community on the other side of COVID-19 is not only stronger, but is in a more healthier and a wealthier place as well. We're increasing home ownership, increasing the amount of people that understand what steps need to be taken to own their home, what all the type first-time home buyer programs there are, and really just more aware of their options and really taking advantage of all that there is with regard to making sure the residents have everything that they need to live their best life.
Great. Mr. Calhoun, anything last words, parting words?
Again, if you need foreclosure help, we're here. If you're looking to purchase a home or just to straighten out some financial things, we have counselors that can assist with those things as well. And we're looking to continue to develop some affordable housing. And so we're planning to be around to offer some hope, just as our name says.
Yes, sir. Okay, Mr. Soapbox.
Well, I figure like I would have had a little bit more time if we hadn't had technical difficulties, but I'm not gonna blame nobody. But
Are you done?
needless to say, no, I appreciate everybody getting on the this call today, and I hope we can do a whole lot more, because I feel like it's important to continue to talk and find ways to connect with people via these outlets that we're using now. And as the more we can do, the better. Just to share information so people can have it and get more people aware of what's going on.
Great. Well, thank you guys. We'll be doing this again, and have a good day.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.